Stress-proofing your brain involves three things. First, decreasing the stress mode activation of each one of the three systems. Second, increasing the well-being mode activation of each one of these three systems. For example, focusing increasingly on gratitude naturally inclines the approaching system into a well-being state. Similarly, grounding oneself increasingly in a sense of strength and inner peacefulness inclines one increasingly toward well-being in terms of the avoiding system. And grounding oneself increasingly in a feeling of love and goodwill toward others moves one increasingly toward well-being in terms of the affiliating system. And the third aspect of stress-proofing your brain is to wrap all three of these systems in a growing equanimity. Equanimity is a kind of shock absorber or buffer in the brain, so that even if a system starts tipping into a stress mode, that stressful activation is held within great spaciousness and balance of mind, so that your overall equilibrium and well-being is not disturbed. And this is what we'll do in this program. In other words, for each system, we will explore methods and practices that decrease its stress mode activation, increase its well-being activation, and surround it with equanimity. Of course, stress-proofing your brain is a lifelong undertaking, especially since the brain evolved to tip quickly into a stress mode to keep our ancestors alive, and because we live in a world that is frequently characterized by scarcity, threats, and unlove. No single program, including this one, can itself alone stress-proof your brain. But if you persist with the practices in this program, combined with sensible use of other methods for calming the body, seeing the world and yourself more clearly, and deepening your relationships with others, you will gradually and truly change your brain from the inside out. So let's get going. We'll start with the affiliating system, both because most of our greatest sorrows and upsets happen in relationships with others, and because the affiliating system has been developed in evolution and refined to an exquisite degree in the brain of human beings to control and regulate the stress response reactivity of both the approaching and the avoiding system. In terms of the affiliating system, we'll do two practices in this program. The first of these is mindfulness, which is a way of affiliating with oneself that both helps dampen stress reactivity in terms of approaching, avoiding, and affiliating, and also is a way to give oneself today some of the affiliating, some of the attunement, some of the empathy, some of the care and concern and regard that we all need, yet which for many of us has been in short supply in our life. The second practice in this affiliating section then will be a way to feel more connected to others and more cherished by them, ultimately helping to heal the hole in the heart. So let's begin with mindfulness. In this practice, as with all the other practices in this program, you can do it sitting, standing, walking, or lying down. Definitely don't do these practices while driving. Most people will want to do a mindfulness practice, as well as the other practices here, while sitting up, because that's a way to stay both comfortable and alert. And as with all the other practices here, feel free to adapt or change or even ignore my suggestions. And definitely, if you start feeling uncomfortable, feel very free to stop the program. And in particular, with regard to mindfulness, I'll use the breath as an object of attention, but feel free to change that to another object of attention if there's anything about tuning into your breath or the sensations of the body that make you uncomfortable. And other potential objects of attention include something like, let's say, your feet, or a tree outside the window, or a candle, or even a peaceful saying like, "May I be happy."